What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Star Wars Explained. I am sitting here with some of the creative team behind Star Wars Outlaws. Could you please introduce yourself and tell everyone what your role is on the game?
Absolutely. My name is Julian Gerighty. I'm the creative director on the project.
I'm Navid Khavari. I'm the narrative director on Star Wars Outlaws.
Matt Martin, a senior creative executive for Lucasfilm. I work across lots of different storytelling, including Star Wars Outlaws.
Well, I just have a few questions about the game. Right off the bat, I just want to jump into a character that's been discussed a lot online already, ND5. I'm wondering if you were expecting the reaction to that droid online. Were you surprised or vindicated by how sexy you made that droid?
You had to use the S word. Now, so completely surprised. It was never designed that way. It was designed to show a character with a large emotional burden. But now that it's out there, I can't look at him at any other way. So it's torture for me. It's a character that we'll always remember creating.
I think anyone who says that they saw that coming is lying through their teeth. But honestly, I'm here for it. Yep. I love it. It's great.
Yeah, the design came through, for review on our side, on the Lucasfilm side, and everybody instantly loved it. And, I don't think we had many comments at all, but certainly we didn't expect that particular response.
Are there going to be cosmetic options for ND5? Can you make him even sexier?
Currently, no. There are no cosmetic options for ND5. I don't think you can make him sexier.
It's perfect as is.
Yes. I look forward to seeing fan art.
Are there cosmetic options for any of the other characters or the ship, the Trailblazer? My wife specifically wants to know if you can dress Nix up in little outfits.
So there are personalization options for Kay, for the Trailblazer, for the Speeder, perhaps even for Nix.
Ooh.
Perhaps.
That surprises me and excites me. We've seen Nix as a huge help to Kay in gameplay. Mm-hmm. Is it possible at all to control Nix specifically, or is it just giving commands?
No, it really is. We created Kay with a symbiotic relationship with Nix. So they're one and the same. So think of Nix as an extension of Kay's abilities. She wants to distract somebody while sneaking around, she can use Nix. She wants to attack somebody while attacking somebody else, she can use Nix. So Nix is really an extension of her abilities.
Perfect. I'm actually very excited for the stealth aspect of the game. I really like stealth in gameplay. I'm terrible at it, but I like trying. So what new gameplay options came about for stealth, specifically in the Star Wars galaxy? What might Star Wars gamers be surprised that they haven't experienced before?
I think I would pull it back to the open world opportunities and the fact that we've created all of these locations to be, absolutely jam-packed with different activities, very rich with events and things to do and things to see. You'll always be guided by your needs as a player, but distracted by curiosity. And that's, one of the core philosophies in the game. Stealth is one of your tools, but so is combat. And you always have your speeder, the ship. The galaxy is your oyster in a way.
I love that distracted by curiosity is great. It sounds like there are a variety of directions Kay's story can go depending on which criminal syndicates she chooses to ally with. Will Outlaws have multiple endings?
Well, we were really focused right from the beginning when we were talking about Kay that we want players to experience, a step-by-step, moment-to-moment journey with Kay. We want this to feel like an authored journey. So we're not looking necessarily at multiple endings. We wanted it to be through and through, seeing her change and grow over the course of the story. One of the important things, though, that was dear to our hearts was this notion that with the underworld, you are a rookie scoundrel, right? Kay is stepping into the underworld completely fresh, is still trying to find her feet and has to navigate that world of syndicates, whether it's the Hutts, the Pikes, our new syndicate, the Ashiga Clan, and she's going to have to navigate that using her reputation. And whichever syndicate that she works with, she's going to have different benefits to that. So if she's working with the Hutts, for example, and pulling off jobs for them, she'll get maybe access to certain locations or certain benefits there. But if she decides to, I'm gonna go betray them and work for the Ashiga Clan for a bit, her reputation might go down. They might send hunters after her. So really, there's a lot of room for player expression and also how the narrative within those syndicates will react to Kay.
That's a perfect segue into my next question. I'd love to learn more about the Ashiga Clan, if there's anything you can tell us.
Oh, it's a joy to honestly get to craft a new syndicate working closely with Lucasfilm Games. So with Ashiga Clan, they're actually based on the planet of Kajimi, who you might remember from Rise of Skywalker. They're the Melito. So they're almost like an insect-like species. And what we really tried to focus on was how can we have a nice contrast between the different syndicates. And so for Ashiga, they're of this hive mind. There's not necessarily like a Jabba type character. This is really a group that is really living to only serve the collective. And for Kay, that's something new and fresh that she's not expecting at all. And we really had a great time collaborating on that as well.
Yeah, and I think Kajimi in general is such a fun world because, I know of all people, that, there's a limited amount of story that's really been established about Kajimi, and most of it is focused on specifically just what we need to know from Rise of Skywalker or, what has come out of the occasional resource book. But creating a new syndicate and this whole world for the open world allows us to kind of get a whole new perspective on that planet in a completely different era, which is really fun. And you throw in a new syndicate, and it's going to be really exciting for players.
And you're crushing these segues, by the way. I wanted to talk about
we
the
met
Hutts
before,
next.
right?
Yeah. The Jabba inclusion into this game. We got to see a little bit more of him. What's his role going to be in this game, and also what's his mindset like? Because just from comics and stuff, he's been through a lot recently.
Yeah, I think with Jabba, honestly, with Tatooine as a whole, we wanted to focus on making sure it felt iconic, making sure the character felt iconic. We got D. Bradley Baker voicing Jabba, who I imagine you know as well. And really at this point in time, we really loved the idea of what would it be like for a rookie scoundrel like Kay to meet Jabba for the first time. We have our own preconceptions of Jabba, and there's this big history that we have in the back of our minds from the original trilogy, from the comics, and that kind of thing. But we almost had to put that on a shelf and just say, like, what would it be like to actually meet Jabba for the first time as a rookie scoundrel? So we had a lot of conversations about that as well.
Yeah, it was such a natural character to include. You're going to make a scoundrel game. Yeah. He is basically the biggest icon of that sort of underworld syndicate element of Star Wars that you can get. And so exactly what you're saying. Being a young scoundrel, just meeting Jabba for the first time, it's not unlike when we met him for the first time in Return of the Jedi, but probably way more intimidating because he's right there in your face.
I was very lucky to be in those sessions with D and to hear him do Jabba. I was like, could you just do that forever? I was like, I'm going to feed him messages, that he could say, but it's a really fantastic.
He's honed his Huttese over time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you all fluent now in Huttese?
Yeah, I pretend to be. Yeah.
The specific time between episodes 5 and 6 is really chaotic for the criminal syndicates. So what was it like to work with Lucasfilm on Outlaws, and can we expect any potential crossover with comics like War of the Bounty Hunters, Crimson Reign, or Hidden Empire?
So the first thing is that the first grain of creativity was more along the lines of how do we create a really compelling scoundrel open world game, and the era was suggested by Lucasfilm, and it was enormous for us, and it's really apt because it is that moment where there is this chaos between syndicates. There's chaos in the galaxy, so that's really prime for us to be able to tell this story. And outside of the game, there are already investigations about how we can create links with the other things.
There's so much going on during this period. I mean, how much time do we have? We could go on forever. But I think for us, what was really, really important was not only to feel authentic to the original trilogy, to be this era as a writer is like the dream playground, I could say, but to also honor the work that's come before. And yeah, I'm not going to give anything away in terms of what we talk about and what we go into. I got to be careful. It's a little early.
I will say that they very much do their research. So the massive team keeps up on everything. It's very impressive. And I work on comics, so everyone is aware of what's happening in that space. We'll just say that.
I was telling Matt, it was like sometimes we'll like put in some like facts to see if he's gonna catch it or not. And we'd always be in the writers where we're like, oh yeah, Matt'll get this. Yeah.
I feel like I'm the one in the room that's like, this question is targeted at me.
Matt, Steve, all those guys. Yeah.
Solo, a Star Wars story established that there are 5 major criminal syndicates. Can we expect to see all of them? Maybe more. We know about the Ashiga Clan.
No comment.
You ran into the brick wall of
I tried.
I'm sorry.
I asked you some questions at the top where I'm like, they can answer these, and then I get to the end,
sure.
I'm like, they're not going to answer
I think
this.
I will say that what we really tried to focus on was making sure that the planets you went to, the moon of Tashara, they all had almost a specific syndicate sort of focus. So, for example, on Tashara, the Pikes are more dominant and they're more involved in, they've brokered a deal with the Empire, which allows them to get a bit of leeway. So you'll sort of see a lot of the syndicates, of course, in terms of how you're managing your reputation, but we always try to approach it of like, which planet, which moon would this syndicate sort of be thriving a bit more or have a bit more going on. So I'll give you an answer there. I hope that's fair.
We've mentioned Pikes. We've mentioned Hutts. So we're getting there.
We're getting there.
Okay.
And the Ashiga Clan.
But they're not one of the 5.
No,
That's true.
One of the ones we came up with.
I think they're one of the ones that are actually more exciting because they're so unique and different.
Yeah. I'm just hoping for Prince Shizor. Don't have to say anything. Just waiting for my boy to come back. We've also seen several planets through the trailers and the gameplay videos. How did you go about choosing which existing planets you wanted to explore and which new planets you wanted to create?
Again, first step was, this is a scoundrel story, open world game. Where are the hives of scum and villainy? And we wanted a real mix between iconic locations, recent discoveries like Kajimi, where we could flesh things out a little bit, and completely new locations. And completely new locations included Tashara, which we featured in the gameplay trailer, which the biome is inspired by the savannah in East Africa, Tanzania, and it uses the 80-20 principle of 80% familiar, 20% alien. So you're going to have these wide windswept plains with huge amberine canyons and outcroppings, and this amberine reflects the light and becomes part of the sandwich, this mountain sandwich of a city that you have in the middle of this location. So all of those locations, unbelievable pleasure to be able to work with them and then create a brand new one.
Well, I have one final question, because most of the open world games that I'm familiar with take place in one city on one planet, Earth. So what is it like to create not just an open world game, but an open galaxy game? What are the challenges that come with that?
Do you want the exciting answer or the really workman? I think there is no option. I think when you're looking at a scoundrel story in the unbelievably gorgeous galaxy of wonder and opportunity that Star Wars is, you have to give the access to space travel, space flight, space battle, hyper spacing to somewhere else and discovering brand new locations. That's part of the fantasy. So I don't think that was an option. Then working it out technically is a massive headache, and but design wise, I think that was the objective.
I think it was one of those things as well that, when it's so exciting to be able to craft something that I think fans and players have been asking for, is this notion of, I just want to step into a Star Wars open world, walk into a cantina. You had a great way of putting it, being able to sort of direct your own sort of story, right? Like go into a cantina, pick up a contract with a smuggler, and then, you know what, I've changed my mind. I'm going to hop on my speeder, take off, and find a hidden artifact of amberine in Tashara. So I think just the fact that you can jump in your speeder, get off the speeder, get into a ship, blast into space, jump to another planet. Like, as a fan myself, this is something I've been asking for since I was 6 years old. So it is one of those things where I'm like, I wish I could just give the controller to everybody right now, because the team has just done an unbelievable job. So
I think that's one of the most exciting things about this as a Star Wars fan is, typically we create a world for Star Wars for TV or for, pretty much any other medium, and it really only has to serve that corner of the narrative, and it just that part. We direct the camera. We know what the person is going to see. For something like an open world game like Outlaws, you really have to think through every element of what that world is, and like I get to see these amazing documents that the team puts together that break down the world in ways that you would never even think of, but that we are forced to think of for a game like this, and it makes it really fun and really challenging to try to, make a world like a Star Wars world that feels lived in, that fans are going to instantly understand is Star Wars.
Well, I'm so excited to have been able to see more of it at Comic-Con, and thank you all for taking some time out of your busy schedule to tell us more about it. So we're excited to play. Thank you.
Thank you so much.